Cari fratelli cardinali,
on April the 18th, 2005, German Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger gave a widely noted sermon in St. Peter's Basilica. It was shortly after the death of John Paul II, and no one could have known that Ratzinger would be elected Pope the very next day.
avere una fede chiara.
Today, having a clear faith based on the creed of the Church is often labeled as fundamentalism, whereas relativism, that is, letting oneself be tossed here and there, carried about by every wind of doctrine, seems the only attitude that can cope with modern times.
Si va costituendo una dittatura del relativismo.
We are building a dictatorship of relativism that does not recognize anything as definitive, and whose ultimate goal consists solely of one's own ego and desires.
E le sue voglie.
20 years after Pope Benedict XVI's leadership of the Church, his warning about the dictatorship of relativism appears to have been, at least in part, fulfilled.
Today, there is a very strong tendency to be intolerant in the name of tolerance if one does not hold the opinion that is expected. That is why it is liberating to search for the truth in all openness, honesty, and freedom.
That is indeed a major problem. If there is no truth in a society, then there is also no inviolable human dignity. That is why it is important to talk about this issue, and that is what we are trying to do here in Hamburg.
From November the 7th to the 9th, 2025, the German association Fundatio Christiana Virtus organized a Benedict XVI Forum in Hamburg, Germany, a theological conference on the theme Truth as a Challenge for the Church and Society. In northern Germany, only about 10% of the population is baptized Catholic. Nevertheless, many young people came to the Benedict Forum to learn more about the theology of the man who chose as his motto the title Co-worker of the Truth.
Die Wahrheit bleibt immer attraktiv.
The truth always remains attractive. Pope Benedict XVI has repeatedly pointed this out. This seems to exert a new appeal, especially for people who are serious, who really want to follow the path of faith, and who have an inner sensitivity that there is more to life than the here and now.
Ich brauche gerade hier Hinweise.
The speakers also included high-ranking experts from the Vatican.
Ja, bei mir geht es Gesellschaft und Politik.
My lecture is about society and politics. Church and state are separate, but according to Pope Benedict and Catholic tradition, the Church has a duty to remind the state that there are non-negotiable principles that take precedence over legislation and cannot be overridden by majority decisions.
Entscheidungen außer Kraft gesetzt werden können.
In der Öffentlichkeit den Anspruch erheben.
I believe we need to rediscover that every person has their own views and convictions, but that the truth cannot be divided. The truth is a shared truth. Otherwise, any dialogue would be difficult.
In the past, the Benedict Forum took place in the Bavarian shrine of Altötting in southern Germany. Now the organizers ventured all the way north to Hamburg, Germany's second largest city, right in the heart of the German diaspora. The Archbishop of Hamburg was very grateful for this.
It is important for believers in the diaspora to meet each other and strengthen each other in their faith. That's why I'm grateful that they came up with the idea of trying it out here with the Benedict Forum, and it seems to have been quite successful.
We have now received many requests to set up similar Benedict forums in other places, even in America and other countries. So word seems to be spreading slowly that Pope Benedict really has something to say to people.
In addition to theological lectures by Cardinal Koch, Professor Ralph Weimann, Professor Thomas Marschler, and Professor Markus Graulich, former companions of Pope Benedict XVI also shared very personal insights into the life of the late Pope. Thorsten Weber, a native of Hamburg, had once given up his career as a radio journalist after Pope Benedict XVI's writings had awakened in him the desire to convert to Catholicism and ultimately to the priesthood. After his ordination as a deacon, he met the then emeritus Pope in Rome.
Und damals war ich ja Diakon in Mecklenburg.
At that time, I was a deacon in northern Germany, and when I told him that, he asked me, "Are there still Catholics there?" I replied, "With great joy, Holy Father, but they are a little scattered." And then he said, "Then hold high the banner of the Holy Spirit there." That the mission he gave to me, and I have been striving to fulfill it ever since.
During the 1960s, Father Martin Trimpe worked for Professor Joseph Ratzinger. After suffering from a spiritual crisis, it's thanks to the example set by his professor that Trimpe discovered his faith and ultimately his calling to the priesthood.
Did Ratzinger change after his election as Pope Benedict XVI?
Ja, ist noch durchsichtiger geworden auf den Herrn hin.
Yes, he became even more transparent in his devotion to the Lord. He was always modest, and Christ always spoke through him, if I may put it so grandly. But as Pope, he became even more transparent.
And so, in keeping with Pope Benedict's spirit, the Benedict XVI Forum is not only about talking about God, but also talking with God. The organizers and participants are certain that this concept is a way to keep the Pope's legacy alive.
Oh ja, wird sich freuen, das war sein Lebenselixier.
Oh yes, Benedict would be delighted. That was his lifeblood. When it came to talking to other people, when it came to the truth, he was immediately alert and willing to make any personal sacrifice.
War auch zu allen persönlichen Opfern dann Zeit und so weiter bereit.
Ich glaube tatsächlich, dass wir...
I truly believe that we will reach the point where he will be declared a doctor of the Church, and I hope so too.
Bei EWTN haben Sie es. You heard it here first on EWTN.